I've long said that the most important elections in any election year are going to be the local ones. That's where you have the most impact, where your vote counts the most, and the people that you elect will have the greatest influence over your life, more so than the president, more so than your senators or congressmen or even governors, okay, or state legislators, though they are a close second. What you do locally, your mayors, your city council, and perhaps most importantly, two roles, sheriff and district attorney or attorney generals or attorneys general, depending upon your jurisdiction, those make an impact, a direct impact. And sometimes it can be the difference between life and death. That's why this latest story is so important. We have it posted over at Patriot TV, patriot.tv. You can check it out. Soros-Puppet DA went soft on career criminal, which is a standard operating procedure for these puppet DAs, who then murdered a father of 5. Such a sad, sad story. Let's go over the details. You can, again, read the entire story over at patriot.tv, but let's look at what we know so far. Travis County District Attorney José Garza is facing renewed criticism after career criminal Caleb Anthony Jenkins was charged with murdering a 25-year-old father of 5 outside an Austin 7-Eleven. Of course, oh my gosh, it's Texas. Oh wait, it's Austin. That's not really Texas. That's the San Francisco of Texas. That's the Seattle of Texas. Jenkins had accumulated at least 3 separate gun charges dating back to 2022, all of which were dismissed or declined for prosecution by Garza's office. Apparently, criminals, they don't like guns unless it's the criminals that have the guns. If a law-abiding citizen has a gun, lock them up. But if a career criminal gets a gun, it's like, oh my gosh, it's the system, it's the environment, it's the process. It's just, it's Trump. It's got to be Trump. But it wasn't just gun charges. Jenkins was also arrested on a domestic violence charge in 2023, failed to appear in court, was rearrested, and then released again after a bond increase, and ultimately went on to the alleged murdering of a man. We have to grasp a certain understanding, and it's going to be hard for you. It was hard for me for a while to fully accept it. We want to think that people are incompetent. There's that old saying, never, I don't know how the saying goes, something to the effect of never blame on evil what can be dismissed as stupidity or something to that effect. We just think, oh my gosh, these guys are idiots. They're so dumb. Look at what happened. He thought that he was doing the right thing and letting this guy out, thinking, oh, he'll reform himself. But look, he just went and murdered somebody, a father of 5. That's not what they think, okay? That's not what they think at all. I would go so far as to say, yes, they are evil. And yes, they know that the people, the criminals, these violent people that they release, such as this man Jenkins, who was already in jail he was already arrested, not in jail, but he was already arrested on multiple gun charges. He was already arrested for domestic abuse. He failed to show up in court. They rearrested him and then just said, okay, well, this time you got to pay even more than the minimal amount to get out of jail. And then, just make sure that you come next time. They know what's going to happen. They want this to happen. George Soros wants this to happen. You can say what you will about George Soros. Is he evil? Yeah, you betcha. Is he powerful? Uh-huh. Is he corrupt? Yes. He's all of those things. And I would argue that his son, Alex, who is now quickly becoming the new patriarch of the clan, that he might be even more evil than his father, George. We'll see. Time will tell. But we do know this, that he is a smart man. George Soros is smart. Dude's clever. And that's why he puts so much emphasis and so much money to back these woke and controllable district attorneys. Yes, he wants criminal justice reformed. He wants it reformed to nil. He wants the criminals out in the streets as much as possible because George Soros and his kind want America to be destroyed. We have to understand this. This isn't about incompetence. This isn't about, oh, if we try it again, it'll work this time. Or, oh, that this, it's not, I'm not talking about their minions, their little, the protesters that go out. They're brainwashed and think, oh, yeah, we don't need police. We don't need jails. We can address crime with just compassion. Compassion. I'll keep saying it until it annoys you to death so that you pay attention to this stuff. José Garza, the district attorney in Travis County, is amongst the worst of the offenders of this. And again, we're talking about Texas here. Garza, who had no prior prosecutorial experience before taking office, was elected in 2020 with significant financial backing from George Soros, from his PAC that had contributed $652,000 and spent nearly $1 million on campaign advertising. It's $1.65 million to a lowly district attorney in a relatively small county. Why? Because it's Austin. Because they need a foothold as much as possible to sway the people. You might think, but if crime goes up, isn't that going to sway the people? No. This is where you can, I said before, don't attribute to stupidity or incompetence. Or, well, that's what they say. In this case, you can attribute this to stupidity when it comes to the minions, the brainwashed, indoctrinated fools that believe the campaign lies, the campaign rhetoric about compassion, about, oh, we don't need jails, we don't need cops, we don't need arrests, we need to take these people and just show them love, and then they're gonna change their ways. We need to get guns out of the hands of law-abiding citizens. And we need to make sure that if the criminals have guns, that we don't do anything about that, because they got to defend themselves against those crazy right-wingers that are armed. I mean, what's criminals supposed to do if they're in the middle of committing a crime? Of course, they got to shoot everybody. How can they do that if the law-abiding citizens are armed? It's just so unfair. We can't grasp the mentality, you and I. Okay, we can't. You have to take common sense, put it in a box, and then burn the box in order to grasp the ideas that these radical leftists embrace. But let's stop trying to attribute what George Soros does, what José Garza does, what this career criminal Caleb Anthony Jenkins. Let's stop trying to say that it's stupidity or incompetence or anything else. It's not that their ideas don't work. It's that their ideas work exactly as they intended them to work. Okay? And you can even at the criminal level, this guy allegedly went to a 7-Eleven and shot and killed a father of 5. Do you think that he went there from his car? So it's not like, oh, he was under attack or whatever. There was a dispute. We don't know what happened. The details haven't been released. But I can tell you this, is that he didn't shoot him with the intention of scaring him away. It wasn't, oh my gosh, he was just trying to pull the gun and accidentally went off and murdered the other guy. So, it wasn't, or, oh my gosh, Garza just didn't expect this guy to be a repeat offender. He looked at him, he's like, wow, this guy's got multiple gun charges, domestic abuse. Yeah, this guy is definitely a career criminal. Set him free. And George Soros knows very well that the fastest way to destroy America is at the grassroots level. And the fastest way to destroy America at the grassroots level is through the various types of crimes. It's not just about letting people go. It's about keeping people hidden. It's about passing laws that allow drug users to run rampant. It's about throwing compassion out. No, we don't need to get the drug users off the streets. We need to give them clean needles so that they can live longer, and so they can take more drugs, harm more people. We'll get them clean needles. That'll help. It is evil. It's a strong delusion, and it's biblical. We knew that this stuff was coming. The Bible warned us that men will be calling good evil and evil good. From their perspective, they think that Caleb Anthony Jenkins is the victim of the system. They call him the good guy. They think that he's the good guy. They think that George Floyd was the good guy. They think that Renee Good was the good guy. And they think that law enforcement They're all bad guys. This is what's launching or promoting, pushing the whole anti-ICE movement. I don't want to call it a movement. It's just pure evil. Let's see if see what else this says. Dennis Farris, president of the Austin Police Retired Officers Association, previously had accused Garza. Garza's got a history. Okay, this isn't his first rodeo of letting out criminals about being just a horrible DA. Again, horrible to our eyes and to reality, but doing his job perfectly as far as he's concerned, as far as George Soros is concerned. He had previously accused Garza's prosecutors of acting more like defense attorneys than prosecutors, and that's true, and said that victims were no longer being consulted before plea bargains were offered. They just do whatever it takes to put as many criminals on the street as possible. And conversely, they'll do whatever it takes to put as many law-abiding citizens either behind bars or too scared to act. This is the whole Daniel Penny thing. Why would they take that? Why would they even try to prosecute that guy who did nothing but probably save lives? It's upside down, folks. And again, you have to understand this is a spiritual warfare. This isn't just about wokeness. This isn't just about people being incompetent or stupid. This is about evil attempting to prevail in the United States of America, because if they can take us down, then the rest of the world will crumble. They know this. That's why we're their targets. And the easiest way to take us down, one of the ways, there are 50 different fronts upon which we have to defend. Okay, there's 50 different fronts that we have to fight this war. This is just one of them, but we got to fight them just one at a time. Let's stay on this one. The family of Doug Cantor, who was killed in the 2021 6th Street mass shooting in Austin, publicly accused Garza of slow walking the gunman's prosecution and putting the case on the back burner. Why? Because it was a crime. Crimes are not important to Soros-backed DAs. Trying to figure out how to let criminals go, that is what is important. Multiple victims of families have described Garza's office as unresponsive, secretive about case decisions, and indifferent to their need for justice because they don't want justice. George Soros, José Garza, these woke DAs across the nation, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, they don't want justice. They want social justice. They don't want criminals in jail. They want law-abiding citizens in fear. And frankly, folks, it's working in so many ways. You've heard of the Ferguson effect. It's spreading to people, to regular average Joes. Don't become one of those people. You don't let this happen to you. Could you end up getting in trouble in today's world, depending upon where you are, for abiding by the law, for doing what's right? You betcha. But don't let that stop you. Do what's right. Do what's right, and let God handle the rest. Fight the good fight. Critics argue that this is a pattern of declining to prosecute repeat offenders, and it's not an administrative oversight, but a deliberate ideological commitment to decarceration, not incarceration, decarceration and leniency. Soros has funded similar progressive DAs across the country, yada, yada, yada. Garza's office did not respond because, of course, why would they? Why would they respond? Why would they answer questions? I mean, they just do what they do. They were elected. I go back to what I said from the very beginning. We can focus on the 2026 midterms. Great. Trying to keep control of Congress, trying to keep control of the House, of the Senate, trying to defend the MAGA agenda. It's great. We can try to get our governors to be more red. Awesome. Love it. Know and focus on and campaign for the right local people at the city and county level. They have the most impact on your life, on the lives of the people in your family. And this is, again, why evil but brilliant George Soros focuses so much on getting woke sheriffs and woke district attorneys to win and to handle his goal of basically criminalizing the entirety of America, as much of it as possible. Your city councils, your mayors, that's where your focus should be. Learn who your Figure out who you're going to vote for. See if they're good. Talk to them directly. You can reach them. And don't forget, in certain areas, I've lived in places where there's literally an election might have a total of 1,500 total voters. So your vote counts for 1/1500th of the total, whereas voting for a senator in a state, yours is one of millions, most likely depending upon your state. That's crazy. Of course you want to focus on local. And again, they have the greatest impact. And unfortunately, this father of five learned the hard way that when you let George Soros determine who's going to be in charge of the criminal justice system in the area, that the people lose.